As the world battles the coronavirus pandemic, China mints money from a global crisis. India today has accessed documents and photographic evidence that Chinese companies have not only increased the prices of oxygen concentrators that are being sold in India, they've also altered specifications and components, compromising the quality and the life cycle of the machines, which could lead to a medical disaster in India. Now, according to buyers in China, they've rejected multiple consignments after finding out that the components that were being sold were actually cheaper alternatives than what was originally promised and used in initial consignments. These alterations can severely compromise safety of the end users. I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Foreign Affairs editor, Geeta Mohan. I also want to bring in India Today's executive editor, Shiv Aroor, for more on this big story that we are breaking here on India Today. Geeta, to you first. Bring us details about how China is profiteering from this pandemic.
Well, Gaurav, like you very rightly pointed out, all the Indian businessmen who have been speaking with, who are based out of China, are coming out with details, not just with regards to the invoice comparison that we've shown with how there is surge pricing of the entire oxygen concentrator shipments coming, consignments coming in from China. But more importantly now for India is the quality, which could be a health hazard. The quality of oxygen concentrators that are coming into India, are there proper quality checks? We know and we're given to understand that there are third-party vendors who have been hired to look into quality, but how much of it really goes through that screening process to ensure that every component that was used earlier is used exactly in the same manner in which it was used? We know and we're given to understand with proof. You see the photographs on the screens that clearly show that the old concentrators had components that made the concentrators sturdier, stronger, and more long-lasting. What we are also told is that the life cycle, the hours that a concentrator can then give in terms of service, is going to be almost 1/10 of what it is, what it used to be in the past. Which means that India is not only going to accumulate a lot of substandard concentrators, but in the coming future, Gaurav, we are going to have a huge problem of medical waste with these concentrators lying in the dumps and go downs of various states, various villages, various districts of India.
Shameful, shameful. It's a sin what China appears to be doing. I want to bring in Shiv Aroor. And Shiv, China has done this before. China did this in the first phase of the pandemic. Several European countries, they rejected the Chinese equipment, whether it was PPE kits, whether it was corona testing kits. They sold substandard equipment to several countries in the past. They're trying this with India, Shiv.
You know, Gaurav, it's become very clear for the last 13 months that the only country that has really benefited from COVID-19 is the country that gave the world COVID-19, and that is China. They've profited uninterrupted from the pandemic in terms of equipment, in terms of services. Like you rightly pointed out, absolutely third-rate testing kits, PPE kits, ventilators during the first wave, which were rejected by countries across the board. All of that is a matter of record. It's not India's opinion. It's all stuff that is out there on international forums as well. In this particular case, what stands out in Geeta's exclusive report is that apart from the surge pricing issue, apart from the fact that there are faulty components here, let's first remember that China, quite apart from, keeping steady on the prices of this equipment, has not even provided any concessions, but actually increased the prices. Let's remember that this is not China delivering these things out of a big heart, even though their ambassador in Delhi pretends like this is some big philanthropic gesture by China. These are all being purchased by Indian organizations, institutions, businessmen, individuals, for philanthropic purposes here. So this is not China's philanthropy. This is Indian philanthropy right here in India. And taking advantage of that, far from offering some kind of concession during India's pain, they've actually indulged in surge pricing. They've indulged in faulty equipment. Most of Chinese manufactured equipment is faulty anyway. But life-saving equipment they've actually played with Indian lives. And this is something that will be very, very strongly taken note of, Gaurav.
Indeed, and that is one reason why alternate supply chains and reducing dependence on China is so important, not just for India, but for the rest of the free world. Shiv, Aroor and Geeta, Mohan, for the moment, many thanks for joining me. There'll be much more on this big story on India First at 10 p.m. tonight. But for the moment,